saying that Klopp needs to be at the helm forever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, for me, to start going to a conversation of get Klopp out, I just think we need to first sort out the stupid ownership we have in place. If we get to the summer,
Good afternoon, all. After last night, I've got this slight headache in my head, and I'm starting to worry now. Like we're always optimistic before games. We say things like, "Oh, we're gonna win 2-0," and all that stuff, and forget the deficiencies that we got at this football club. Ignore the reality, and after that performance yesterday, people have to tell the truth and stop hiding behind, you can't say this, you can't say that, and lie to yourself, if you know what I mean. We try to be positive, it doesn't work. We sing for these players, it doesn't work. The manager is thrown under the bus majority of the time by these players and the owners. We're still positive. Even yesterday, we were still positive. That game yesterday proved a lot of stuff to me that we're more in trouble than we first thought, and things aren't going to change anytime soon. So let's do this review and discuss the game. Hello everybody, like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily contents. Yes, people, welcome to LFC Red Forever channel. So we're going to do a review, obviously, of yesterday's game, which finished Liverpool 2, Real Madrid 5. So there's a lot of stuff we've got to go through. Sorry, I haven't got more than one person with me. It's just going to be me. You have to cope with. It's hard to watch. So let's discuss the actual match first, and then we'll move on to the other stuff. So as we all can see, the game finished Liverpool 2 and Real Madrid 5. Darwin Núñez opened the scoring in 4 minutes, and 10 minutes later Salah scored. As the game went on, Real Madrid was coming to their own, and Vinicius was on the left hand side cutting, and he managed to place his shot on the left hand side of Alisson without anyone actually putting any pressure on him. I don't know what to say really in regards to the goals, because if you don't put pressure on players and be physical, they will run rings around you. If you look at Vinicius in the World Cup, he wasn't doing much because people were actually bullying him. People made sure he doesn't come to his right foot and take shots. But with our honesty in our play, these things are becoming a common occurrence in games, if you know what I mean, people. And him picking his place in the bottom left-hand corner of the goal and no one actually throwing their body at the ball clearly proves these defenders and these midfielders are not up to the job anymore. Maybe we're asking these players to do things that they can't do anymore, and you keep going back to it again and again, thinking they're going to correct it, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. I don't know what to say, people. Like, when you're 2-0 up in a game, you shut up shop, don't you? You shut up shop. You make the other team come on to you, and then you could hit them on the counter attack, which we didn't do. We just let them play their game, get into the game, play their game, and do whatever they wanted. And their second goal just shows it. The ball goes over the top. Gomez is running back, passes the ball with his left foot, bubbling around the box. Alisson hits it on Vinicius, and he loops into the goal. So if the goalkeeper is making and what do you call it, mistakes that's not in his character, it shows all the bad form on the pitch is travelling all the way back to the goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong, Alisson has been fantastic this season. But if the team is playing badly and is like on a continuous basis, and we're trying to avoid reality during the season, especially when we can see things aren't right. You know, when you watch the Newcastle game and Everton game. Everton, let me give you an example. Everton were bad in that game. Throughout the game, they wasn't really doing much. And don't forget where Everton are. They're in the bottom three. So you don't expect them to be on form every single time. Yes, they beat Arsenal at home. But there's a different thing when you're playing Anfield and it's a derby. You know, the form has gone out the window. So everybody has to perform in some way. And Everton just didn't come up to the test that game, as I remember. Sorry about the yeah. So that game, really, it was just toss of a coin. If the team, if they had their striker, Carl Lewin, I think his name's, if they had him, maybe the results wouldn't be as convincing as it was, if you know what I mean, for Liverpool Football Club, and Everton would have probably gave it more of a go, because they looked impressive when he was playing against Arsenal the game before. And then you move on to the Newcastle. That game, it looks suspicious, doesn't it? Like, even though we started well, as we always do nowadays, we start better because no, actually we didn't start better, because I remember Almiron had a chance in the first few minutes when he was free in the box, and Alisson saved it with his left hand. If Alisson didn't put that left hand, it would have been a goal, and Newcastle would have been a goal up, and we had to like come back from that. And everybody knows when we try to come back, what deficiencies we have, because we don't really perform very well. So yeah, we was lucky in that one. And then you get the 2 goals first from Gakpo and Nunes. Sorry, Nunes and Gakpo, and they go down to 10 men. Even with Newcastle's 10 men, they still looked impressive. They were still creating chances. They should have scored at least a couple, if you know what I mean, from a set piece or you know, like good play for the middle. So we was like showing in that game that we're still vulnerable, we still have issues, and we haven't resolved a lot of stuff during the season. It's scary watching Liverpool at the moment, people. Like, if the manager can't see things like this, shouldn't we all be worried? Because I'm worried for him now. He's underperforming as well as the players on the pitch, because he's still playing the obviously 4-3-3 with players that can't do the 4-3-3 anymore, if you know what I mean. They can't do the running. They can't do the tracking players. They can't create goals. They never did in the past, but you know, like at least contribute on something like that. When the ball bypasses the midfield from the top, it's hard for them to get back. It's already like one-on-one with the goalkeeper and defense, and you know, the team score. If you look at Real Madrid's majority of their goals, that's how it came out. And then you move on to the third goal. Gomez tries to back up Trent with Vinicius, and he fouls Vinicius. A lot of people say it's not a foul, but it's a foul when you get in contact like that. Even if you get the ball and you go through the leg, it's a foul. Let's just be honest there, it's a foul. They take a set piece, and Militao finds himself in the box for free. Nobody challenges him. Finds himself in the box and then just headers it in the goal. We're still doing zonal marking from a free kick just on the right hand side of the goalkeeper's box. He comes in, headers the ball, no challenge, nothing, doing zonal marking, and that's their third goal. That's how easy it is for opponents now, people, and we're letting it happen on our watch. Nobody boos. Everybody still, like, all the fans are still backing the team. The fans don't really, as I said plenty of time, our fan base is the best fan base in the world, because we love the club so much, because we love the manager so much. We'll still be there, you know, singing, backing the team, and we're always going to be behind them. But do we deserve this as fans? Compared to, I don't really want to talk about other clubs, but compared to other clubs, Man City were losing 2-0 against Tottenham at home at half time, and fans booed them off the pitch. They came back in the second half and beat Tottenham. Those kind of clubs that don't deserve fans like us are getting performances. Those fans from those other clubs that don't deserve like what our fan base do are getting performances on a regular basis from their team when they boo them off the pitch and come out different in the second half. How is that a norm? Like, how is that acceptable? This is what we're facing, people. Like, our football club, it's just a nice football club. I know I'll keep reoccurring with that, but it's just a nice football club. We're nice on the pitch, off the pitch. Owners send out messages before a game and put the fans in disarray. How do you do that if you care so much about a football club? Like sending messages out to the fans and making them more angry than they already are. The focus wasn't even on us anymore. The focus was on Manchester United and their new ownerships. But yet John W. Henry comes out the day before the match and sends out a message: Liverpool's not for sale. The day before the match, that is, people. And people are telling me we need to back these people. I don't understand. I might be living in a bizarro land or something like that, but those things should not happen in football. Owners should not come out a day before a game and start saying things the fans don't want to hear. And these owners always do that on a regular basis. It's not the first time. Before the Everton game, when Van Dijk and Thiago got injured, Project Big Picture, I said. Before the Leeds game, Super League. So it shows is a common occurrence, and we haven't won those two games, by the way. Before this one, we drew 2-2 and we drew 1-1, and now we lost 5-2. This is what we're facing, people. We're facing an uphill battle with the ownership, and it's becoming a norm. So Militao scored, and then Benzema scored through a deflection as Rodrigo ran down the right wing, and then another one. Benzema was through on goal, took on Alisson, and then just tapped it in. I think with his left foot and the side netting on the right hand side of the goalkeeper. So that's how easy it was for them. It wasn't like a game, mind you. Like Real Madrid, it's not an actual like the Real Madrid of old. They're not doing what they used to in the past. Real Madrid, you know what I mean? They're not the Galacticos. They're not the most impressive team in La Liga at the moment, which is Barcelona. And it's weird. It's weird. But look at us. We're 8th in the league. We're not impressive ourselves. But show a bit of ambition in it. Show a bit of heart in the game. Show that you actually care. You know what I mean? Show when these teams come to Anfield, you're physically capable of actually handling their ability, which we ain't. You know what I mean? If you look at our play, I looked at the Real Madrid shirts and shorts, all dirty. You look at Liverpool, it's like you don't even need to take it to dry cleaners. That's how it is. We don't do slide tackles. We don't stop people going through on goal and, making sure that they don't score a goal. At least take them down, like trip them up on the way to the goal, as they would do. And we don't put ourselves, in a situation from set pieces. This is why we concede a lot of goals from set pieces. Look at the set pieces we concede, people, and the chances that opponents get. We don't throw our bodies on the line. You look at Man City. Players throw their bodies on the line. You look at Newcastle did the game. They threw their body on the line. Even with 10 men, they still battled us on that pitch. You know what I mean? So it's just a continuation of a lot of stuff with this football club, and it's never going to be ending anytime soon, people. Like, it's going to get even worse. I even put a tweet up this morning when I came back from work. See, this is the effort I'm making. I'm coming back from work from a night shift, and I'm doing the actual stream. Didn't get enough sleep, so I'm still, I'm still standing. I'm still doing all right, and I put a tweet up saying, pre-warning to everyone, it will come a time, if this continues, Klopp is going to walk out for the sake of the football club, because that's how much this guy cares, if you know what I mean. And these owners, for not backing him season in, season out, they always say like, Klopp turns water into flowers. I can't say that word, but into flowers. And he does it all the time. But how long can water turn into flowers when you're taking a risk season after season after season after season? It's going to catch up with you, and eventually the risk you're taking. So this is what's happening now. Those risks those owners have taken for all those years is catching up with us now, and it's hard to get out of it. So what they need to do now is do a complete clear out of a lot of players at Liverpool Football Club and replace them with more quality, which FSG ain't going to do if you're in the real world, if you know what I mean. FSG ain't that type of owners. They haven't got that type of money. They're looking for investors. But what investors in the right mind is going to pay 500 million just to have a 20% stake? Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. If I was that rich, I would rather buy the whole club. I wouldn't fucking pay 20%, 500 million. What kind of nonsense is that? If you are not fit enough to own a club, you shouldn't even be sitting on that table. And like I said, I'll go back to it. Do our fans deserve this compared to other clubs? No. Because even when we was losing 5-2 in this game, our fan base was still singing "You Never Walk Alone." It's like that Titanic. Like I put a tweet out the other day. Like as the ship was going down, the band was still singing. That's how this club is. They was getting booed. These players were still getting backed, and the manager, like, even he can even see that. You know what I mean? Those three things were happening in that game. 5-2, getting humiliated at Anfield of all places, not at Bernabeu, at Anfield. And the fans were still singing "You Never Walk Alone." And people are telling me like Liverpool fans are trash and etc. This is the type of fans we got. We will back you to the hilt, but show us something on that pitch that we could back you with. But you don't show us nothing. Everybody's blaming Gomez, everybody's blaming Alisson, everybody's blaming Van Dijk. But if you're not as one, as a collective, this is the performances you're going to get. And that's what's happened to us. And it's going to continue happening this season. A lot of stuff have, like, the paper over the cracks. If you look at that Newcastle game, like I said, look at that Everton game, Brentford game, and Brighton game. We even settled for Brighton to beat us in a game, people. That's how bad we've got. We've even settled. Like, we was worried before a game, thinking Brighton's going to smash us, and they did, and it happened. I don't know what more to say. I love this club to the hilt. Supported them for all my life. I mean, and I can see when the mistakes are happening. I did warn a lot of people before those mistakes was going to happen, and it's still continuing, unfortunately. And there's nothing we can do about it because the transfer window is closed. Do you see like what FSG normally do? They put messages out when in the stages where the fans are calm. Do you get what I'm saying, people? When we're calm, they put messages out there, and then the fans go disarray, and then we forget about it. That's what they do every single time. Why did they put that message they put the other day, especially John W. Henry, during the transfer window? Because he knows. They are very smart, these owners. They know what they're doing to us. And unfortunately, they got their own fans. And the fans that can't say anything. Like me and Anton was there the other day. We said, like, we're in our 40s. We've seen Liverpool through the 90s, the trashy time. You know, like, young people don't have that time. Like, we was like in the stage in the 80s, like, nobody can touch us. That's how good we was. And the modern day fans, I love them to death, don't get me wrong. They got to realise what Liverpool Football Club is all about. What Shankly has built. We use Shankly quotes all the time, but you forget Shankly. What he meant was he wants his club to be the number one in world football, and we're not the number one in world football anymore because we're not having that consistency as we used to have in the 70s and 80s. We go up, we drop off even further down. That's how bad it gets, and we're 8th in the position. Majority of the time was 10th. And it's not getting any better anytime soon, if you know what I mean, people. It's a scary thing. Big up, Eddie, man. Big up. Listen, I come bearing gifts, innit, man. I've just woken up for like 3-4 hours from work, doing night shift. So I'm trying my best. So please bear with me. Don't criticize me either. Yeah. So let's get to the actual formation the team played, and then we could discuss like how things went wrong, and then we could have our own thoughts towards it. So you look at this, and this is the formation we played. Basically, it's the same team that played against Newcastle. Were they impressive during the game? Yes and no. We won the game by obviously 2 goals. But did we deserve the win? No. Because Newcastle, with their 10 men, they still outperformed us. If you look at the overall story in that game. So we started off well. We was winning 2-0. Obviously, their goalkeeper made the mistake with Salah's goal. But how did we improve from that? We didn't improve. We still played the same way, if you know what I mean. Because these players can't play any other way. They're stuck in that 4-3-3, and then we keep going because it's Anfield. Instead of like sitting back, let Real Madrid come onto you, and then as soon as the gaps open, don't forget people. You know, like when teams come onto you, there's gaps going to be open because they're chasing that goal. And we didn't do that. This formation was still like that. What you look at it, and not many of those players were in the game throughout. Don't forget as well. Fabinho probably is the best out of Bad Bunch in the midfield. I'm not criticizing Bečić because he's just a kid. He's only 19 years old or 18, whatever it was, and he's playing a lot of games for my liking as well. You know what I mean, we should have enough cover in that position to rest him and bring on other players, as we're not doing at the moment. And then you got Henderson. Henderson, when he plays more than 2 games, people, this is the performances you get. He can't run, can't lift his leg, makes a lot of mistakes, and the other team starts scoring. If you look at the Vinicius first goal, Henderson was next to him. Then he done one little move, and Henderson just popped off somewhere else. You know what I mean? That's how bad Henderson's getting. He's not even reading the game anymore, and he should not be playing this many games. People ask, like, why does Henderson only perform in certain stages? If you look at his previous seasons, he was injured for a lot of them, so he refreshes himself, if you know what I mean. Then he comes into the team, then you see that energy, etc., and then he gets injured again. Then like that's how he was recovering, for him to have that energy during games, if you know what I mean. He has rest in between the season, and unfortunately, last season and this season he's fit throughout, which is why he's probably been. Look, he's 31. He still should be in the peak of his powers, if you know what I mean. But it's not happening. It's not happening anymore, and he shouldn't be a first team player anymore. But how can we correct this? I don't know. If someone asks me how we correct this, I honestly don't know. Because it's like 1 step back, 5 steps back. Sorry, 1 step forward, 5 steps back, and it's happening on every occasion. And as I said in the beginning, we're papering over the cracks with our wins. But teams are still creating chances. This is not the Liverpool that we're used to. Teams don't create chances. Alisson normally has cold feet. Alisson has cold fingers. But now he's doing a lot of work, and he's keeping out a lot of stuff. Listen, he made a mistake in the game, but he needs to put his hand up as well on that mistake. With Alisson, the issue is when the ball's at his feet, he takes too long. He doesn't snap. He doesn't kick it away straight away. He takes too long. Like he's got flat feet for some reason. And his movements is very, very slow, and he gets caught out. He gets caught out badly, and he should know how Vinicius plays because he plays with him in the Brazilian team. But he just kicked it straight at him and it went over him. Joe Gomez. So let's speak about Joe Gomez. We've discussed this during the preview of the game, and we discussed that on LFC. Let's talk LFC episode 35. Everybody, majority voted for Joe Gomez because his performances in the previous games as well. But if you look at Joe Gomez, he will have 1 or 2 games, then he's going to have 5 bad games. If you look at Joe Gomez during this game, actually, in the first few minutes, he was already panicking on the ball. He was like all over the place. And I said, when I was watching the game, I wish I would have done a live stream. I said, we're effed here. Joe Gomez is already panicking with the ball at his feet. Because once he starts doing things like that, mistakes happen right after that, and he's been doing it in all the goals came through him. Look at it, came through him making mistakes, and I'm not blaming him. I don't think he's a centre back. I've said it for many years. If people that know me, I've said it for many years. He's not a centre back. He's a person that wants to play centre back, and the club, the management trust him to play in that position. But he's not good enough. That's the thing. He's not good enough. He's a fullback. He's always been a fullback. Charlton, he's always been a fullback. If you're a centre back, first of all you got to be brave. He's not brave. You got to win your battles. He doesn't win his battles. you got to make smart decisions. He doesn't make smart decisions. When you have to clear it, you have to clear it. And he doesn't do that. He puts players under pressure all the time. But I'm not blaming him because the coaching staff should see that. Why do I have to mention that? If you're a coach and manager and you get paid a lot of money for that, you should know what you're doing. I shouldn't tell you that. You know what I mean? He's a fullback playing as a centre back. Centre backs have to be brave, and for his size and physique, he should be winning most of his battles, but he's not. And now you look at this game, you look at the Wolverhampton game, you look at the Brighton game. He's part of the actual mistakes. And then you look at that 7-2 game against Aston Villa a couple of seasons ago. He's part of those mistakes. You know what I mean? So how long can you watch that? To me, he should just cover Trent. Like games like this, if there's Vinicius, he should be covering people like Vinicius as a right back. But I'm not even blaming Trent. I don't think Trent had a bad game. The majority of the mistakes came through Joe Gomez. And, you know, that midfield ain't covering no one. The thing with Fabinho is he used to have runners around him, like I said in the past. Gini Wijnaldum, Henderson used to cover for him when he used to go intercept. We're not doing that anymore. Hence why these teams come onto our midfield. If you look at this game yesterday, people, majority of their attack were counter-attacks. I remember Kodwa throwing the ball to Vinicius. Vinicius started in his own box and ended up ahead of everyone in our box and nearly scored. That's how easy it is to get through that midfield. And we're not learning from it. And it's just happening again. It's happening again and again. What more evidence do you need? There's something not right. Why don't we just tell these three midfielders, stay there, make sure there's no gap, and you just control that area? Gakpo is not he's not in the game. He doesn't know how to play the system yet, so it's going to take him time. This is why I say, like, if new players come in and out the team, let them understand how we play. But we're starting these players on a regular basis, and then they're making mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. I would have played Firmino, because Firmino knows that role, and he has had enough rest for him to come back to the team, into the team. But if you keep playing the same players again and again, they get tired, don't they? So that's, was it 3 games in a row now? These players have played together. They won 2 and lost this one. At one stage, it's gonna be running out that adrenaline, that actual energy on the pitch. It's gonna run out. That's what's happened to these players. So we've got to freshen up. There's enough quality on that bench to change these players around, but we're not doing that. We're just doing the same thing again and again. Of course, Ancelotti is going to be happy when he sees things like that, because you're going to watch these teams, and it's the same thing every game you're watching. So it's easy to prepare for. That's why Ancelotti does what he does. We're too easy to prepare for, and it's happening on a regular basis. So the score is 5-2. What are we going to do in the Bernabeu? If we're doing this at home, look at the Bernabeu, people. Like, we're going to get battered again. We're playing for pride now. This is not the Barcelona time. At Barcelona, when they beat us, I think, by 3 goals, I said we're going to win the second leg, because there's something that showed me in that pitch that we can actually turn that tie around. This, we're finished, people, man. Yeah, we're done. We're done out here. Honest to God, we're done out here. I can't see any improvements in the future. I can't see anything that's going to convince me that we can actually qualify for the Champions League spots now. These players' confidence is so shattered, it's going to be hard to pick them up. You know, like, you're hearing the same thing again and again and again from the same management, the same coaches. It becomes tiring. And you're always finishing like a point or 1 game of winning a title. That's what's happened to these players. They're just tired now. Their legs are gone. Their minds are gone. When all that stuff is gone up here, it's going to be hard to retain that, because they don't have that hunger anymore. If you look at our players this season, we shouldn't be 8th if the quality was still up to standards. But we are 8th. And we are going to go below that if we continue with these players playing on a regular basis. And if you don't make signings in the summer, forget top 4 next season. It's going to be even worse than that. And I can't see these owners actually investing. Everybody's talking about Bellingham. Bellingham ain't going to play in the Europa League. He's not going to play outside the Champions League. You know, come on. If Man United get bought, Do you think they're going to stand around and watch Liverpool, feel sorry for them, let them buy Bellingham? Of course they're not. Look at this. Look what's just happened. We put the club up for sale. Man United put the club up for sale. We went after Qataris. Man United went after Qataris. It's happening every single time. So now we're after Bellingham. They're going to go after Bellingham. See, do you catch what I'm saying? It's happening on a regular basis. They don't want their rivals to be strengthened. And they do it by any means necessary. As for us, we're just a nice football club that's just nice to everyone. Where's that ruthlessness? Where's that ruthless side from our football club, man? That don't give a damn about any other team. Where's that gone? That's what I want to know. It's hard to watch, people, man. It's hard to watch. And it's going to continue these disappointments. Let me get back to the messages. Sorry about that. I have to explain to you guys before, you know. Casper says, Man United fan, by the way. He says, poor from Trent yet again. I don't know if Trent played that badly, bro. So, Casper says, as I have said before, I will say again. Aaron, I don't even need to read that. Victor says, Casper, shut up. What do you mean? It's Reece James and Cancelo, Joao Cancelo, Van Bissaka? I don't know. Is Van Bissaka, sorry, is better than whatever. I don't know how to say that anyway. Yeah, but if you look at these performances, it's just going to continue, people, and it's going to be hard watching Liverpool in the near future. As I said, what worries me the most is Jurgen Klopp and what's to come next. If it continues like this, it's going to be a time you have to choose between Jurgen Klopp and the ownership. And you know who I'm going to choose. It's going to be Klopp all the way. But what worries me the most is if Klopp comes out and says, you know, it's time to go. It's hard to watch, people. It's hard to watch. Yeah, we'll just move on to the next thing, which is Klopp. So people ask, what has Ancelotti got over Klopp? You saw it yesterday. He knows how to play against Klopp. He says it every single time. He said it before the Champions League game. He said it before this game. He knows how to play against Klopp because Klopp only plays one way. That's what he says. It's easy. He said Liverpool are easy to prepare for. That's if a manager is disrespecting you like that, where's your counter attack to that? Because you're doing the same thing he's saying, and we get battered on a continuous basis as well. That's how much disrespect Klopp is getting from Ancelotti. And what does Klopp do? He just pays respect to him all the time. There you go, people. Nice club all around. Just instead of having a ruthless side and not accepting things like that. So how do we move on from this? Get new ownership? Get new players? Because it's just going to be downhill from here. These players are done. These players are done, people. I don't know what more you want me to say. These players are finito. There's no way. There's no coming back. That mentality of monsters, whatever they used to be called, is gone. They're not monsters anymore. They're hornswoggles now. Small. That's what they are. Hornswoggle from WWE. That's what they are. That mentality has become like hornswoggle. And it's never going to change. Sad, man. Sad, man. You know that I'll always back these players in regards to their success for what they've done for the football club. But what we're watching now, how can you back that, man? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. So, people, I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll come on Friday, hopefully 9 o'clock. We're going to do the preview for the Crystal Palace game, which ain't going to be easy either. Let's just be honest there. Crystal Palace are going to be up for it. We're losing against the likes of Brentford, Wolverhampton, and Brighton. And we have to accept it, apparently. So what difference is it going to make facing Crystal Palace? You know what I mean? They're not going to be as easy as everybody thinks. Yeah, so I'm going to bring a preview on Friday, so please tune into that 9 o'clock. I'm going to have a few guests hopefully on that game, and we could discuss in depth about this game and obviously the game that's coming up over the weekend. Please like, share, subscribe and all that good stuff. No pressure here. And follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and this, of course, YouTube. I'm tired, people, man. I woke up like a couple of hours later just to do this for you. It's tiring watching my football club and no improvements showing on the pitch. And the games we win, it's just paper over the cracks. What a shame. As they say, as the ship is falling, as the ship is sinking, the band is still singing. And Liverpool fans are always going to sing no matter what. That's how we are, man. That's why I admire. That's what made me proud yesterday. They didn't have to boo those players. They actually still sung the "You Never Walk Alone" song. And if I was those players, I'll think about it like long and hard. Do those fans actually deserve what they're getting? You know. If you look at other clubs, they get booed off the pitch in half time, and then they get performances in the second half. But Liverpool fans still sing when you're losing 5-2. I don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. But, you know, what can we do, people? I'm not here to trash the players. They've done a lot for us down the years. But there's a time you have to, you know, put that horse to slaughter, if you know what I mean. And these players are done, man. It's sad, man. Fabinho is only 29. He plays like he's 59. You know what I mean? That's suspicious enough. I've said it before. I don't think that guy is 29, man. I think he's 59. I'm 44, and I think I could move better than him right now. You know what I mean? And I haven't got the knees anymore. There you go. Henderson is done. No way back for him anymore. He's either be a squad player or time to go in the summer. Gomez, either play as a right back or nothing at all. Van Dijk, good times are gone. Bad times ahead for him. Time to look for a replacement eventually for him, I think. Something similar, innit? With pace and power, aerial duels, you know, things like that. That's what we need. Because he taught us a lot in that position. If you got something like that, you could be formidable. Instead of like buying for buying sakes, if you know what I mean, people. And yeah, something similar to Van Dijk. Height, strength, power, everything like that. If we could get something similar to him in the future, we'll be back to where we belong. Obviously, Konate is there, but he's hardly fit, let's just be honest. Besiktas, future looks bright for him. He's playing too many games in my opinion. He needs a rest. And hopefully like players are going to come in and to back him in that midfield area. And then you got Robertson. Tsimikas ain't doing it anymore. Robertson plays too many games in my opinion, hence why he doesn't perform in a high level on a consistent basis, and it's going to continue if we don't get a backup that's suitable in that position. Who's going to actually challenge for that position? Figure about, you know, being behind him, you know, be equal to him in that position, and you know they fight with each other. Because if no one's fighting for your position, you're going to be comfortable in it. You're going to be comfortable. So that's what's happening to the majority of those players. They know they're going to play next week, and they're comfortable in that position. Gakpo, he will come to his own eventually, I think, and he's playing in a foreign position at the moment, which is that false number 9, which is hard enough. You know what I mean, look at what he's done to Firmino. Firmino can't stay fit anymore, but I think he's going to come to his own in that position and out wide. Probably number 8 in the future. I don't know. And then you got Nunes improving every game he plays. You saw that goal the other day, back heel. The confidence is sky high, and he could only get better as an all-round player instead of like just a striker. I think they're working on an all-round play. Once he gets that together, I think he's going to be formidable. I don't think anyone's going to touch Nunes up front as well. And then you got Salah. Since he's got the money, forget about the money actually. Since the African nations, he hasn't been the same. With Salah, you know what? Let me explain to you something, people, about Salah. Individually, he's not as good as like Messi or Ronaldo's, or you know, those top players. Because you know those top players, even in a bad team, they'll still show glimpses of their greatness, if you know what I mean. for me, like all those years, Salah has been carried by a majority of those players, especially Ronaldo, Henderson, and Fabinho. And then you got Mane on the other side that motivates him to get those goals. So now he hasn't got that anymore. You should at least see glimpses of his quality, which he's not showing. Sorry. Which he's not showing. Hence why he's struggling during the season. Is he going to improve? I don't think he's going to improve, and unless we get those players that's going to be helping him out in that midfield and cater to him. So he's got to do much more than what he's doing. Okay, you can't score goals anymore. What should I do next? Help the defense. You know, help Trent Alexander on the right hand side. Get back more. Make sure there's no crosses coming inside the box, because we struggle with crosses in the box. So that's what he should be doing. Or create goals. Go deep, create goals. As he did in the last few games. Maybe he's got to do more of that instead of like concentrating just to get goals. Like I said, Liverpool Football Club is a collective. It shouldn't be individuals. When you pay individuals differently, it affects the rest of the team, and especially when they sign a new contract, thinking like the wage structure is going to be all like close together, and then you give a player even more wages. Yes, he deserves it to a certain extent for what he's done in the past, but we can see without that team, without that like collective side of the team, he's not the same player. I'm being realistic. I wouldn't lie to you. I mean, Steven Gerrard was an individual player. He could perform in the highest level on his own. Mo Salah, without that backing of Wijnaldum, Henderson, Fabinho, Firmino, and Mane, is not the Mo Salah that we recognise. That's how I see it, people. And I got ridiculed when I said that. Like, he should not be getting a lot of, like, he should not be getting like double of the next person, like Van Dijk. He should be getting at least slightly more, but not double of what they're getting. And it affects players. Talk, people. Players talk. Players have that negativity in their head. They say to themselves, "We've won the Champions League. We've won the Premier League." It wasn't him on his own. Yes, he scores a lot of goals, but without that backup, without that players provided him, where would he be? You know what I mean? You saw him at Chelsea, didn't do nothing. He was in Italy, he wasn't scoring as much as this. So it clearly shows it's the team around you that's putting you in this high level of performance. And it just shows the season without that quality behind him, or the players ain't performing as they used to. He's not the same player. We can see that. Okay, people. I think there's one more message before I go. Let me just a few messages. Sorry. Victor says, I think Gomez should move to right back, then Trent right centre midfield or right midfield. Klopp always says it, Victor. He always says, why are we going to change the position of the best right back in the world? He's the best right back in that position in the world, he said. It's hard to change him into something else. So it's down to Klopp, innit? If Klopp's still here, it's down to him. I don't mind seeing him somewhere else, you know what I mean? If it's going to improve the team and make us more solid. But, don't forget, Trent played in this position in the last 7 years or 5 years, whatever it is, and we won every trophy possible. To me, it's what's around Trent is the issue, bro. If we got Caicedo in that midfield, along with Nunes, I think, and Bellingham, I think we'd be more solid in that midfield. I think he'll be getting a lot of backing from Caicedo, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of crosses in the box, if you know what I mean. If you've got two players that's in sync like Henderson and Trent was in the past, I think we'd be more solid in that position. But it's just the personnel, in my opinion, in front of him is the issue. Because once the ball bypasses that midfield, more or less these teams are through on goal, and they either score a goal or they create a chance. And the midfielder hasn't got the legs that they used to have anymore. Like I said, Courtois threw the ball out. He didn't kick it out. He threw the ball out. Vinicius started in the box and ended up in our box ahead of everyone else and nearly scored. That's how easy it's getting for teams, because there's no one tracking him. I remember, like I said about Wijnaldum in the past, Wijnaldum, he can see you running from like a mile away As soon as he sees you running, he knows what position you're going to be taking, so he gets in front of you and makes sure you don't have that power and pace to run in front of him. Because if the person hits him from the back, he'll get a foul, wouldn't he? So that's what Wijnaldum was smart with. Same as Henderson as well. But it's not going to change anytime soon. Yes, people, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back on Friday doing a preview for the Crystal Palace game. Hopefully we'll get a lot of people on. And hopefully we win over the weekend as well. Get rid of this nightmare that's happening to us at the moment. It's not going to be easy against Crystal Palace though. I gotta be real. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a tough game, man. And yeah, sad, innit? Sad. Yeah. So please, people, like, share, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Like it, share, and all that good stuff. I don't put pressure on people over here, and it's up to you if you like the channel or not. So yeah, I'll see you on Friday, innit? I'll see you on Friday. Take care, everybody.